friends, and happy Tuesday. Can't believe we're here again. A week goes by fast. A lot of WNBA action took place. I did some house cleaning. That's always good to know. And we're back here again, and the cycle continues, right? So a lot of things kicking off. Unfortunately, as much as I know that we love to have fun and we love to promote the game of basketball, sometimes the game of life takes over. And I wanted to make sure, and our producer wanted to make sure that we took some time to recognize a moment of silence for those people in the mass shooting that took place, taking the lives of 10 innocent people. If we could just get a little bit of time for a moment. Thank you. Also would like to take this time to recognize Brittany Griner. I believe we're up to day 87. And I'm sure that we'll talk a little bit more about what's happening there. But that continues to be a painful situation in our world as well. I pray that we all will keep Brittany Griner and her family and loved ones in their prayers, as well as do anything that is possible to help have a voice to get her back to where she needs to be. So those things off the top, just wanted to say, as much as we love hoops and what we do, the real world continues to happen around us. We are very, very grateful that we have the opportunity to have something to take our minds off of it a little bit and talk about some other things that are going on in life. With that said, where would we be without a general manager by the name of Penny Toller? Penny, for your thoughts, Penny, what's going on today?
Well, like you said, there's a lot happening, definitely want to, echo everything you've been saying. And, it was interesting because, Brittany's always on my mind as well, hoping that she could get home and, they would push that back another month. And I'm hoping that situation works itself out. But, hey, the W's here is going on. It's a lot of good energy. It's a lot of great games today. You got, I think, Connecticut versus New York, Atlanta versus Indiana,
whole lineup,
Washington versus Dallas, Phoenix versus the Aces, and Minnie versus the Sparks later on today.
You got all of that right here. I'm like this. Let me see here. We got
it's easy. Basketball stuff is still easy. I didn't bring down T-ball. But you know what? It's interesting because, I know Mike Tebow's happy to have Elena Deladon back in the fold, and with Alicia Clark on the way, they sitting at the top of the standings at 3-1. Vegas is at 3-1. Hey, here's the thing that I love the most. Hey, Tanisha Wright is down there doing her thing with Atlanta. Atlanta is like 3-1, and I think they're in the lead right now, playing Indiana again, I believe it is. And Ryan Howard, the rookie, is coming through for her. She had 26 versus the Sparks, 33. And
33, big. Yeah, she's balling.
I want to tell your best friend Jan, when I said that she would be Rookie of the Year, she's like, oh no, but you see how she's balling, right?
She's balling. She's balling.
Then, Dallas is up there. Chicago, I believe, is right behind. The surprise is Minnesota. Minnesota's at the bottom.
Wait a minute, Penny. Hold that thought. I got to get Ruthie on the show because you can keep going. You just
my bad. Like, that's my bad.
Ruthie's like, for real.
She the GM of the Central.
I know she the general manager. She just take over. Right, exactly. I'm gonna talk about this. And another thing, right. Ruthie, how are you?
Am I supposed to finish now?
I like your hair, Penny. Your hair is laid, girl.
Thank you, but I'm telling you, if you see it in person, I got to get it done tomorrow. It'll be better, but I get it done. Oh, it's a Thursday. Yeah.
So before you were interrupted, I did want to go on. I know you were talking about Ryan Howard and some other things. I just wanted to make sure. And for those of you that are just joining us, how dare I not even recognize our very loyal fans on 4 or 5 different platforms on Facebook and also on YouTube. Thank you so much for joining us every single week and making this show possible. Your questions, your thoughts, your energy, and your promotion of this show has made a huge difference and keeps us coming back every Tuesday. So thank you again, and we'll get to your questions in just a little bit. But Penny, please go ahead. I didn't mean to cut you off. I just couldn't leave our girl Mighty Ruthie hanging.
Because I was just off to the races. Obviously, the big surprise is Minnesota being at the bottom, 0-4. But think about it. They started there last year and got all the way up to the semifinals. I think it's going to help them. They done activated Kayla McBride. and I'm sure they're going to be happy when the Fisher Callier drops that baby and get back. It's been tough because Cheryl been, trading players, canceling out players. You saw she divorced Angel McCautry. They had a buyout and got a divorce. It's going to be interesting to see where Angel ends up at. They signed Mariah Jefferson. That she came in, been balling, even though they didn't win the last game. And I must say, they definitely look better. So it's going to be interesting to see what they do. But here's the big one. This is probably something we're going to talk about next week because we got a super, super amazing guest, and I'm going to let you introduce in a minute. Seattle is 1-3. But the interesting thing about that is, if I'm Breanna Stewart, I'm pissed too. They take a commercial flight, they get to their destination, and she's in the COVID protocol for the next game. And unfortunately, Seattle loses. And that goes to show you why you better win early because anything can happen. And as long as this COVID is going on, and I'm going to be honest with you, you guys don't know who I work with. But like today at work, it was just me and one other employee because COVID is still going on. The office has COVID. And I say, stay home. Do not bring it to me, But in basketball, look how that has gotten Seattle off to a bad start.
Yes. Yeah. And welcome in for those of you that are joining us for the first time. I forgot Penny Toller, long time, 23 years with the Los Angeles Sparks organization, player, coach, and general manager. 3, count them 1, 2, 3. She don't let you forget 1, 2, 3. Bling, bling, bling. Championship rings, right? Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. The mighty Ruthie Bolton, Olympian and singer and shooter extraordinaire, and of course Rita Haywood, who has put together Certified Unscripted single-handedly as our executive producer. Rita, thoughts real quick.
Hey fam, I just love seeing y'all every week on Tuesday night. I forget about Taco Tuesday. I'm good right here with CU. But I love y'all. I appreciate all the love and everything you give. Penny, you just like a walking encyclopedia of history. Oh. I love it, and I know once you get started, it's hard to stop you. So I'm glad you pumped the brakes on it, Vera. You pumped the brakes.
She was gone. She was off the rail. Like, can I introduce the rest of the people?
I love y'all on Tuesday. I look forward to this.
I thought you were gonna tell everything in like 1 minute. Like, don't tell the whole show.
She's always talking about how I cut off the show. I'm like, I gotta cut off the show because you done took up half the show.
Exactly.
Ruthie, FYI, at the end. You better get it in because I know you love this guest before Vera started to say, we ain't new to this.
I'm yanking it now. I'm yanking the mic. I'm going to cut all y'all mics off. That's what I'm going to do right now.
But you know what? It's been a great weekend in women's basketball. I think everybody got a little taste of what the season's going to bring. There's a lot of unexpected situations as far as the standings currently. I went to some of the games on Friday and Sunday I went, and I'm telling you, the place was packed. People are coming out, people are supporting. So, we're putting a good show. I say a show because it has to be entertaining for people to keep coming back. And, we have the support of the community here in New York, and I know the other arenas do also. So, we're ready to help it rock and roll with the coverage we do here about what's going on with the games, and we just look forward to a great season. So I'm excited, All
right,
hey,
we're
I know this Certified Unscripted, but somebody just text me on how to get in. Because somebody sent me the they want to watch this. Somebody.
Oh, I'll send it to your phone.
Okay,
I'll send it to you right now. Okay.
Certified Unscripted, baby.
And right now we are unscripted with that one.
So what? We're totally unscripted. I was like, what? Somebody wants to get in? What?
I'm like,
so here's where I want to go. Here's where I want to go, folks. We got a lot of questions coming in. Yes, Tina Boo, I see your question. Tina be like, we got some questions. I know.
Tina
Boo don't play. We got to get to the questions. We will get to the questions.
Off the chain.
We would be remiss if we did not start the show like this to introduce one of the greatest minds ever behind the scenes of women's basketball. You are in for an absolute treat tonight. You're going to learn some things you could not possibly have learned anywhere else but from this special woman that we have. She is so special that those of you that really, really know kind of a little history, not even that deep of the history, but you should remember this. Give me a second as I probably illegally pull some stuff up here, but I'm going to pull it up and I'm going to blame Rita for it.
It's all
Rita said we could do it. Y'all got that? Y'all remember this?
Cynthia Cooper, guard, Houston Comets.
Yeah, hi, what's
Why'd
your
you pull
name?
up 4-3 on the break last night?
Well, I was open.
Peter was open on the block.
Yeah, but
You know she's winning down there. Why'd you say that? Well, I would have.
because I was
My
open.
mama says because is not an answer.
Your mama's right.
Should have hit Tina down low.
I promise I will next time.
Assuming there is a hesitation. The way I see it, you owe Tina an apology.
Oh,
I want this one.
Give me to Leslie. Center, LA Sparks.
Yeah,
New York is gonna shut you down. Unless,
New York's gonna
I
what?
said unless. Here, try these tomorrow night.
What's this?
It's what's gonna get you over the hump against New York.
What?
Use those in the second half. Catch him off guard.
I'll show these to coach.
Whatever, suit yourself. Just little friendly advice.
And one more, my favorite right here.
Hey, Jordan. Your shell swoops. Forward. Houston Comets.
How you doing?
You got some pretty good moves. You're fast anyway.
Thanks. I guess.
You know, your jump shot could be better. You're releasing the ball too soon. It's fixable. With work.
So where is your mama?
Mama can help you with jump shot. Does he have a jumper?
He's only 11 months old.
I jump shot at his age. I did it.
That's cute.
Some of the best commercials ever. We remember these from long time ago. And lo and behold, one of the things I did not know, that one of the very special people that was involved in getting some of this great programming on air and really helping to promote the women's basketball game is with us tonight.
Yes.
Raye Pond has established herself as one of the preeminent influencers in women's athletics as the manager of women's professional basketball in Nike Sports Marketing Department. She is the primary, or has been the primary liaison for many of the sports elite athletes and coaches, including former WNBA Cynthia Cooper, as we saw, Lisa Leslie, Shamiqua Holesclaw. Raye's work encompasses contract negotiation, scouting, relationship building, event planning. She's a native of Medford, Oklahoma. In her 11 years at Nike, now retired and chilling at home, Raye has been instrumental in serving the needs of Nike athletes while increasing their visibility in the industry and elevating the Nike brand. We could go on and on and on, but it would be better to let her talk about it. Rita, I'm going to pull you out. And Raye, welcome to the show. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for joining us. It means so much. And I know that there are so many players that the minute you say anything about Nike, the first name that flies out of their mouth is Raye Pond. You have been around for so long doing so many things. What was your first experience in terms of getting involved with the WNBA?
Well, I first worked at the Women's Sports Foundation, and Donna Lopiano was there, and
that's right.
She was pretty tough, but that's okay because it taught me a lot. And I remember calling Alf Alexander, saying, "Hey, I'm going back home. This is not for me in New York and in that environment." And my group of people had all left. They went to ESPN or went to ABC, and they went to different jobs. And Alpha was on the committee for the USOC. And so she said, "Do you know Sue Levin at Nike?" I said, "I don't." "You don't know the women's sports marketing director?" "No, I do not." So she said, "Hang up right now." And I hung up. She called Sue Levin, then called me back and said that she was going to have Sue call me. And then the next thing I know, I'm on a plane to Beaverton, Oregon, Portland, Oregon, and did my interview. And I said, "So when will I know?" Because I've taken the red eye back. "So you'll probably call me in the morning, wake me up and tell me I have the job." And that's kind of what happened. So I called the next morning and I had a job.
Awesome.
Job.
These two ladies, we talk about all the people that you know. What's the background scoop on that Penny person and this mighty Ruthie Bolton? What you know about these two characters I have to work with every week?
Oh my gosh. Well, you know what? Penny has been around from the beginning of the WNBA and before then playing overseas. I think sometimes we forget that there are athletes before WNBA. I mean, when
Right.
I go back, there's ABL, and then there were 9 leagues from what I understand, but there was the WBL, Women's Basketball League, that had Liz Galloway and had Holly Warlick, Nancy Lieberman Klein, Adrian Mitchell, Molly, Machine Gun Molly, Peggy Kennedy, Shar Jackson. There's a whole list of athletes that had it not been for them and athletes before them, we wouldn't be where we're at. But Penny, you know, I saw that first shot in the WNBA that went in. That was Penny Toller. And it was incredible. And then, of course, as general manager, she gave me the best prime seats that any girl can have, you know, courtside all the time. So thank you, Penny. I appreciate it. And then Miss Mighty Ruthie, you know, we did a commercial shoot with her one time. Oh, look at that player's card right there.
Go ahead,
first round.
Talk about this chick. Talk about her.
Hey, there were no trading cards at the time. And so Nike decided, well, let's make our own cards, signature cards. And so after that point, I think there were other trading cards companies that were doing WNBA. But
I'm gonna tell you what I love about that card too. But that card, Barry, you need to put that back up there. I'm gonna show you the most important thing on that card right now that I wish.
Hold on, I gotta pull it back up.
You
know I can't work this stuff.
laugh at this. I'm gonna show you the most important thing on that card.
Okay.
That 132. I wish I could get back to that. You know what? I used to try my hardest to be like 140. Now I'm like, oh my God, can I get back there? When I saw that, I go, oh my God, can I get back to that 132?
I want to bring this up bigger. Oh, I can't bring it up bigger.
Oh, it's okay. I just thought that was funny. I had to get that in.
I feel you. I feel you. And then Mighty Ruthie, she's been around since 95 and she's still involved in my life, was here a couple months ago and helped me celebrate an award I received from Win for KC. And she's always been singing. And I remember we did a commercial shoot. Two of my biggest memories is we did a commercial shoot and her dad was there. And he talked about how he had got a pea in his ear. And I said, it must still be in there because he was hard of hearing. But anyway, and so we did a commercial and it was all scripted. And by the way, Wyden and Kennedy did those commercials. And Nancy Montserrat was the head of advertising. And our whole women's sports marketing team was amazing. So it's a huge team effort, you know. And my role was with the athletes and getting in there and prepping them and all that kind of thing. But with Ruthie, we ended up doing a commercial that she just started singing. And then that became the commercial, Mighty Ruthie. Go ahead.
Well, y'all flew about seven of us to LA. And we spent 2 days shooting. The last question, they said, I know it's been a long weekend. We got one more question. I don't know what it was. And they asked me and I was like, oh man, it's over. And my family started singing. And then I started singing. That lasted about 32 seconds. Can you believe that was the commercial? Like, how you gonna go 2.5 days and then you just use that? So so that was crazy. Like,
yeah, that was pretty amazing.
That was a Nike commercial.
Pretty amazing. And then, you know, the other thing, and just getting to 1995 and 96 and 95, we did that USA basketball tour. We were a sponsor of the team. And, you know, there's a lot of stories I have about that year. But one of them is that we had buses. We decided to try to get family and friends to the games that the athletes, the U.S. team, played against their alma mater. So Ruthie was at Auburn. We took Dawn's family to Virginia. So we told everybody you'd have a bus. And so Dawn played, the Virginia game was before the Auburn game. And so Dawn Staley calls me, hey, one bus is not enough. I need 2. I said, what? You need 2 buses? Are you kidding me? So I said, all right, you know, Estelle Staley got a lot of friends. So we got 2 buses. They all came to Virginia. It was amazing. We had, you know, Dawn on a stick. We had all these giveaways. It was just a great environment. And then here comes Auburn. Ruthie, hey, I need 2 buses. And then 15 minutes later, hey, I think I need a 3rd bus. And then 15 minutes later, I think I need a 4th bus.
How many?
154 Bolton friends
Did
and
we?
family. Yeah.
They were all brothers and
And
sisters.
then at halftime, we got to sing on the court. They had to get a local church to feed all those people. It was just amazing. It was amazing. I don't think Ruthie was at the church when everybody got fed, but it was pretty incredible. It was an incredible experience.
Yeah, it was.
So, wow.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Well,
Thank you, Ray.
Oh, you're welcome.
I'm going to jump into some questions. What we typically do is just go ahead and let the unscripted part take over as we start looking. Now, Penny, Tanya wants you to know that 14 years ago today, Candace Parker made the best WNBA debut ever, 34 points, 12 rebounds, 8 assists. You remember that? In a win over Diana?
Oh, most definitely. You know, adding to that, that was awesome that Candace did that when she first came in the league. She came in with a bang. And, you know, that was actually one of that year we had one of the best team ever with her, Alicia Milton-Jones, Lisa Leslie, and all those guys. And to give you some more history about Candace, you know, Candace is still the only rookie that was Rookie of the Year and MVP of the league. You know, that's how LA did it, okay? That's how we did it, okay?
That's good.
Any thoughts about, we talked about this a little bit earlier on, Angel McCoughtry?
I thought that was interesting that Minnesota brought out her contract. I actually caught a little bit of the game. I don't know if her knee was healthy or not. I know Cheryl Dunn, you know, divorced Angel McCoughtry, cut, what was it, Crystal Dangerfield? I believe that was the last name. You know, and picked up Mariah Jefferson, activated Kayla McBride. Like I said earlier, her team has been changing a lot, and you know they 0-4 now. But Cheryl finds a way to be at the top at the end, and that's all that matters.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's all that matters with her. Ain't how you start, it's how she gonna finish.
That's a sign. I want to say last year, did they start? How did they start last year? It was sort of slow, wasn't it? And then they
struggling. Yeah.
Yeah,
I think this might be the first time that they've only lost. They 0-4. You know, but you know, Nafisha Cow is out. That's a lot. You know, I really want them to have a super great year, and I really want them to have a super great year because you know, it's Sylvia Fowles last year. I want her to have an opportunity to go as far as she can go. And you know, for every fan that's on here, spread the word. Hey, these stars are starting to go out of here. You might want to look at them and check them out before they go, because once they're gone, you know how they say, going, gone.
Yeah.
Jan, but they wanted her shout out that Howard's balling now. So that's right.
Who is that? Who's that here?
Huh?
Who is that? Was that Jan?
Yeah, that was Jan. She said,
"Oh, Jan, I already told you that, Jan. I already told you she was going to be balling. I'm telling you right now, if I was a rookie, I already told you I want to be drafted by Indiana or Atlanta, and I got to take my hat off to Tanisha. You know, Tanisha, I believe Atlanta's 3-1. You know, Atlanta's coming out with a bang, and they playing very, very interesting basketball. You know, I love that high octane from those young kids, like I love Dallas. You know. So they're going to be one of my favorite teams.
One of the things that it kind of turning it over to Ray a little bit, pointing some questions directly at you, just your thoughts overall of, you know, I mean, marketing's hard. Yeah, I'm a business owner. I'm an entrepreneur. I get it. I mean, on a very, very teeny weeny small scale, I can only imagine. And over the years, we've been trying to take the WNBA. We started this with I thought those commercials that Nike used to run, I loved them. I thought that was a great series. I thought they were on point. I thought it, by tying in the Little Rascals, you know, there's all these marketing minds that are out there. They're trying to come up with creative ways to market the WNBA and give it some sustainability. What are your thoughts of where it needs to go and what they're doing currently?
Well, you know, that's a really good question. You know, when I did my master's degree, we talked about what I did it on was those college programs that had a women's sports administration group versus the men's. And then, so I kind of look at Nike when it started. And, you know, let me just say this. Liz Dolan was the vice president at Nike. We did not have a woman that had a sneaker. And she said to Sue Levin, who was in PR, "What's up? We need to get Cheryl Swoops here because she just won a national championship, the air swoops. And what came out of that was women's sports was separated from men's from the sport category. And therefore it had its own budget. It had its own marketing, it had its own PR, advertising, community service, footwear, and apparel. And I know that Nike has had some great efforts. They continue to sign athletes, but I don't know exactly what those endorsement deals are. But I do know this, is Sonia Henning is there. And she is proactive with the WNBA athletes and trying to get them in positions at Nike, has that program. And I believe it's over 20 athletes go into Nike every year. And then they have the opportunity to grow within the company. And when they start getting in positions of power, I think that it's shifting. It's starting to change. And I will tell you that I heard a story from one of the executives the other day. She told me, and I won't say her name because I'm not sure I should, but she was at that clinic that Ruthie and Cheryl did in Hartford, Connecticut at Quinnipiac College in 95. She said, I don't even know how to tell you this, but I was that kid that came up to you and asked you, what do you do for a living? Now she's the vice president at Nike. And so I was like blown away because I remember a kid coming up to me and telling me he wanted to do what I did. So I am seeing more commercials. I'm seeing Sue Bird in commercials, Elena Deladon, and I see it with different corporations than the norm. Like Nike and I don't know. Penny, you have to tell me, is Reebok in the game? Any other Adidas?
Well, State Farm, when you say not the norm, you done seen like State Farm got a lot of them. You got Subway with Sue. I believe, I forget which one it is where Irving and they talk about Bird and it's not Larry Bird.
Credit card.
Is that Capital One?
Yeah, Capital One.
Yeah, Capital One. So you're seeing it in different places. But I'm gonna tell you, those vintage commercials are the best. And I want to say to people out there, Raye's being very modest right now.
Very.
Because I said to her before the show, I'm super excited that she's here because I always tell people, and obviously I really understood it before, but I really understood it when I became a GM, that it takes a village to make sure that this WNBA is here right now. And Raye was a part of that village when we started because Raye, you always made all the players, including myself, feel like we were superstars. We could ask you for anything, and if you would do it, you would get it done. I mean, your passion, if anybody met Raye, you would see her passion for women's basketball. Raye, you were like 3 times the people with just the athletes to deal with, and it's interesting because Nike could be so gracious to have another person such as yourself, because those, even though they have commercials, those other commercials were just fire. You know what I'm saying?
They were.
They were fire. And Nike, because of you, look at all the shoe deals that are in there now. You had the first, like you say, swoop shoe. Now you have Adidas. You have Under Armour trying to get some people with clothes. Champion, and think about it, you guys had the league for what, Raye? Probably like the first 15 years before Adidas paid top dollars to buy the NBA and the WNBA. Wasn't it like 15 years?
It was a little over 10, I believe.
Yeah, and then the other thing I loved was, and a lot of people don't even know this, and the league should get back to this. This is something I think they should keep. Not only did Nike put their money where their mouth was, and you made sure that all the athletes were taken care of. But think about it, Raye. Back in the day, you guys had a Nike representative in every team's office that you guys paid to make sure that we had grassroots covered too. Remember that?
Yeah. That was good.
Why do you think? Well, first of all, here's a shout out for you. Whenever we have Facebook user, we actually have groups. We actually are broadcasting to whole groups. And because they're coming from a group, they just get to be Facebook user. That's what I finally found out. So there is a Facebook user in one of the groups that are watching right now, who said you provided her, or I'm guessing him, with the first Nike contract for a junior community college. So it wasn't just all that you've done for the WNBA, but women's sports in general. So you're kind of an expert. So given that I am now making you the expert, why do you think there was a question about why do you think there isn't a current or an ongoing shoe for a women's, superstar? This question from Erica.
Erica, I do not know. Well, I've left Nike about 11 years ago, 13, I think 13 maybe now, but I do not know. I haven't kept up with the footwear. I assume that when I left, Diane Taurasi was the last one that had the DT3.
Mm-hmm.
But I know that there has been footwear designated to like Elena Delle Donne, Sue Bird. And I don't know if they're promoting those shoes as like, as a group effort, like it's a guard shoe and it doesn't have the Sue Bird name on it, because we kind of did that.
For us.
Yeah. For, Ruthie and Penny knows, we'd have a packet of shoes that was designated to the position of play. I will just say this: if I was there, I'd be fighting to have signature shoes, and Asia Wilson would be right on my list.
Yeah.
So, this is good, and I think what needs to do is people should write into Nike and say, "Hey, what's up? We want a women's shoe." And if people start, doing that kind of campaign toward Nike, I think it could change some. Change some things.
So it does matter. This is one of the places where the people's voice really can make a noise. And
absolutely.
All right. Because sometimes there's a tendency to feel like, your voice doesn't matter. You're just one person. But that's good to know that it does. The other way that you get to be an expert on our show is to have a top 5. Nobody gets to escape. Oh, go ahead.
Real quick before we jump in there, I think one thing about Raye that was great, and when you manage people, like she was always so calm. She was always Raye, and I know you've been with, it's been 13 years, but my family still call her, what's the Nike lady doing? How's the Nike lady up? What's the Nike lady up to? Like they refer to you as a Nike lady, but you were always like calm, and your disposition was always good. But you manage a lot, and I know we could be hard, especially me. I'm like the man never, but how you responded, you were built for that. You had a pedigree of someone that had patience, but you always you followed through, and you just was amazing person. Like I said, you are a Hall of Famer in your space because you are phenomenal and consistently. So thank you, Raye.
Well, thank you, Ruthie. That's very, very nice. Very, very, very nice. Okay, I see these top 5 players. Oh my goodness.
Oh yeah, everybody gets tortured with this question. It's kind of a staple now when you come on the show.
Wow, that is pressure. Well, I gotta say the starting 5 for that 95-96 team was amazing. Ruthie was on there. I think Dawn Staley, Lisa Leslie, Cheryl Swoops, Teresa Edwards. Did I get it? Did I get the core? I think Katrina McClain.
Yep.
Katrina McClain. That's the 5, right?
Was that 5?
Katrina McClain. But let me tell you something. I was at, we started the Nike All-American Camp. And the Nike All-American Camp was started because they were doing it for the men. So we decided to do it for the women. And the U.S. national team, the first one, I believe, was 96. And we had Blaze there and Nancy Lieberman, and had like Katie Smith, Shannon Johnson, Charlotte Smith and Sylvia Crawley, and those athletes that played in the ABL were our counselors. It was incredible. We'd have pickup games. And the 2 athletes that went head to head was Blaze and Nancy Lieberman Klein. And they just, unbelievable. So the ABL athletes, hey, we need to take a break. We're going to go sit down. And Blaze said, we don't take no break. We keep playing. So those 2 were incredible. And then I saw Blaze put on a clinic, and she shot 100 free throws in a row, 100, and made 100 free throws in a row. And I was like, are you kidding me? And she said, can I stop now? I said, absolutely. We can bow down. I had never seen anybody do that before. So Blaze was an incredible shooter. And I wish I'd had the opportunity to see Machine Gun Molly and some of the players back in the WBL, because I think there were some incredible players there. Cheryl Miller. You go back through history, and we don't, I think in this game, we think about what is going on with the WNBA. ABL had some great players too. Valerie Still.
Yes.
Valerie Still.
I said her last week.
Still was incredible. And I remember watching the Columbus Quest with Nikki McCrae and Katie Smith was on team. They were incredible against Long Beach Stingrays. And their championship games were just incredible. So that's going back in history a little bit.
But you know what though, Ray? We need history because this is how naive I was. Kara Blajowski. We were shooting a commercial. I told her Blajowski, okay.
Mm-hmm.
She need a nickname.
Just Blaze. Just Blaze.
Blaze. And we were shooting a commercial, a poster. So we sitting around, we was like, oh my God, it's taking so long. So we had to look a little break. So I said, I'm gonna go on the court and just shoot around a little bit. And I saw this lady shooting. I was like, I'm looking. I'm like, oh man. I said, you got a pretty good shot for a media lady. And she was like, are you serious? You kidding me, right? She looked at me to my, you gotta be joking. I'm like, I'm just saying.
You call her a media lady?
I'm like, your shot look good. Do you ever play basketball before? Seriously, she said. And yet that was Karen Blajowski. No wonder she had I didn't know. So I know y'all laugh. I told Teresa Edwards last. She said, "Are you serious? Oh my God, I'm surprised she didn't fight you." But anyway,
oh my God,
I didn't know. But
I'm surprised Blaze didn't beat you down. Yeah.
But that's what I'm saying. We need to know the history, and I appreciate you, Ray. You recognize that obviously we got the now, we got the current, which is phenomenal. But still, we need to know the women that carried us on their shoulders, and we need to be intentional about letting them know that basketball didn't just fall. All of a sudden, it was a league. There was a lot of work, and that's a big process. So, but yeah, we need to do a better job with the history of the game.
Great question from Tay, Ray. Did you play basketball coming up?
Hey, Tay, I did. I actually played at Medford, Oklahoma.
Oh,
okay. High school basketball. And then I went to the University of Oklahoma and was the manager of the team. So I used to take the recruits to go see Barry Switzer in his office, the best recruiter in the game. And Barry would just charm him, show him all the championship rings. And he was amazing. He was my go-to guy. And I just saw him the other day. I was so thrilled. He saw me, big old smile on his face. And I tell that story all the time. He was the man that got those athletes there. And we won the Big 8 championship a couple of years when I was there at the University of Oklahoma. So,
we we definitely promote basketball. We love basketball. That's all we talk. But there's so many cross streets that we have to go through, including those that are political. And one of the ones that's in the forefront right now is this question from Hoopballer Scoop about Brittany Griner. We talked about this right at the beginning of the show, just kind of giving a moment of silence and recognition. But in your mind, how much more can be done, or what are your thoughts overall about what has happened to Brittany, and how can corporations make a difference or make a statement?
Well, I just saw McDonald's pulled out of Russia, and I wish they had made a statement when they did that. But Russia's tough. I mean, who was, is it Shibata that was the owner of the team in Russia? Mm-hmm. And they shot him up in the back of a car, 40 times.
Yeah, shot cop. I believe that's what they used to call him. Yeah, they shot him like 28 times. Yeah.
28 times. So, they say that was the KGB that did that. Mm-hmm. Journalists have been murdered over the years. Mm-hmm. I personally reached out to a Russian contact. Is there anything we can do? And he's like, the team was very involved in trying to get her out. I know her agent is trying everything she can. I know the State Department is. I just don't know, other than if something internally happens within the, I don't want to even say what I think, but it's just really sad. I mean, it's just very, very sad. And I feel like she's a political pawn. I don't know if I believe she was set up. And
I believe that too.
I wish there was something I could do. I really do.
Because overseas, just like we all know, and look at what she's been detained for. I mean, you and I both know, and especially that team that's so rich and so powerful, and they have two owners that I believe are billionaires. They could blink their eye and she would have been out. So I definitely agree with you about being a political pawn to get something, because I mean, for all y'all out there, for all the stuff that goes on in America, I'm straight up saying America is the greatest country ever. Because at least you have a thing called due process.
Yeah.
You know, that all her rights are being violated. You know what I'm saying? You would think she committed murder for the way they're not letting her being able to communicate with somebody. And you know, it makes me mad when people jump to conclusions about, oh, she did this, she did that. You forget that some of this medicine and some of these things are for mental, like, you know, stress, anxiety. I know a lot of people that do the same thing that she was bringing over, but it's for stress and anxiety. But we're so quick to jump to something bad. But regardless of that, you mean to tell me it's going to take 3, 4, 5 months, maybe years before she could come home? That's insane.
I agree.
I do. God bless America.
God, yeah, I think you take a risk every time you leave this country.
Yeah.
You know, I will tell you, when we went to China for the World Championships, we had to sweep the buses underneath. Athens was scary. They had a U.S. sub outside that Queen Mary boat where the American basketball men and women's team were staying.
Wow.
There were shooters across on the building top. Lisa Leslie had her mother stay with me because I was at a hotel, because I think we all had a fear of some kind of terrorist act. And, you know, the history of the Olympics has always had something going on. We had a bomb in Atlanta. We had something happen in Australia and Sydney. Moscow. Right. No, not Moscow. It was in Germany. Berlin, right?
Berlin, yeah.
No?
Berlin.
You know what? Somebody's going to have to help me with my history. But I will tell you that there's scary moments. Lisa's mother and I were going to the women's game, and we got pulled aside by the Secret Service and showed us pictures of people from Pakistan and asked if we knew had seen any of these people. And of course, you know, we weren't paying that close of attention. So those kind of things happen, you know, every time you go out of the country, especially to countries who might have an anti-USA feeling about our country.
And that's pretty much all of them, even though I had an amazing time overseas. But this is why I'm so happy, and I'm happy that you know, Athletes Unlimited has came about, you know, that female players can go play for that 5 weeks that they be playing. I believe it's from February to the beginning of May. Athletes Unlimited, the other league that's starting to play now, because that's going to give women another avenue to stay home and play versus going out the country. And a lot of the money has been drying up lately. And now you have this war that's unnecessary going on. It's making a lot of people come home. But it's very unfortunate, this Brittany situation, because I mean, we all know it's a sham, you know, and it's going to change the trajectory of women basketball overseas, because you better think twice now, knowing that, you know, your rights could just be totally violated when you're in another country.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
sure.
I agree.
There was I'm shifting gears a little bit on this question, because we've been talking about the league and all the different changes and things, and the whole travel issue. I think you touched on this at the top too, Penny. Apparently there was Natalie Williams tweeted about the WNBA travel. So she's trying to get the big boys and girls on board. LeBron, Beyonce, Oprah. You know, when you tweet to Elon Musk, he might have you on a rocket ship.
44 million.
You know. But thoughts again about the travel situation, and also about the expansion. We've been talking about expansion of teams, but it seems that some of the league players are more interested, instead of expanding to have more teams, more roster slots on each team. Just some thoughts about that. Does that make sense? Which one works more?
What do you think, Penny?
More
Well,
teams.
You're the general manager.
Yeah, GM.
Well, for me, you know, I always say, and I read that a lot of the players think, you know, they're afraid because, you know, Sue's probably going to retire. Diana, you know, you got Sylvia Fowles, you know, Candace will probably be next after that. A lot of big superstars going out of there. So they fear if they expand, they may not have enough stars to house all these players in each team. And for me, it could go either way. You know, obviously I always wanted a bigger roster. You remember Ray and Ruthie, we had 13. Remember we had 2 reserves and we had 13 players on there because with the way the salary cap is now, yeah, you gave more money, but what people don't understand about the salary cap, yeah, your stars are getting more money, but it's killing the bottom now. And when I say killing the bottom, where you have a situation like Cheryl, where she has to cut people, and a lot of these cuts that are being made because economically. And so for me, you have to expand the roster, even if you're expanding the league, because you have to give teams an opportunity to develop some players. Because if you can draft some of these players that were cut, that are good players are getting cut. But now you can develop them. You have them on a contract for a longer period of time at a less amount of money. And you could be so lucky. I mean, take Brianna Stewart, who everybody knows right now. She played 4 years under rookie money, who's a superstar now. So for me, you definitely have to expand the roster. But I do believe that I would like to see at least 2 more teams come in, because at the end of the day, even with stars going out, stars will always rise. You know what I'm saying? And you have to and you have to let that evolution take place. So for me, I think you need both.
Let me ask you a question, Penny. Has there been a talk about a D League, like a league, the development league? Like, you know, I know everything gonna be money, but to me, I feel that, and I might be missing it, but to me, there's so much money in the NBA, it wouldn't take nothing to run a D League. But there's a place where these players could stay here and develop. These players could stay here and they could work their player. You know, you can pull something up at a certain time. You know, you have your rules and stuff. But to me, I think a D League would really allow the players to develop and then also get them ready for the, you know, WNBA. I think it'll be a beautiful, and a lot of times the players rather stay there, maybe make less and go overseas, especially with things that's going on now. So I don't know if it was ever talked about while you GM or anything.
It never was, because, you know, it's like driving 2 cars. I got to focus on the first car. You know what I'm saying? To get those teams up and running and to get those teams profitable. But this is why I love Athletes Unlimited. It's been their first year this year. But look at some of the players that played over there. A lot of veteran players play home. And some of the old vets came back, such as Essence Carson, who went back and played and, you know, and played in that league. I think that league is going to be very beneficial to the WNBA players staying home and playing. I want to say that they are not a G League or a D League. They are their own league and with their own system. But I think they're going to be very instrumental in helping a lot of players stay home and play and better their game, you know, to come back to the WNBA. And you're going to have some new players that come out of there that, you know, nobody never heard of. But I definitely think the league has to expand. It has to expand. Like I said, it has to expand, and it has to definitely expand the roster, because you just got great players getting cut. I mean, really talented young kids that got cut just because there's no space.
Well,
I want to give a shout out to Eileen Hauser, who left Nike and is with Athletes Unlimited. And she's responsible for a lot of what has gone on in Las Vegas. I think it's amazing what she's done. So I want to give kudos to her. Second, on the expansion, I just, you know, when Houston Comets, when they folded, I was crushed.
Everybody was.
Beyond amazing. And they packed that place out. And if there is an expansion, I hope that somebody in Houston takes that on. I will also say the first couple of years of the WNBA, Nike also had interns in each market. And we distributed money to each team. But part of the deal with those interns, they had to go out in the streets. They had to go to schools, to retail, take the athletes, and they promoted it like crazy. They had a 3-year summer project, and to see how many fans they could get in the stands. And we have a great group of people that have come through that program, young people. They're older, and they've gone on to jobs with the NBA, WNBA, ESPN. That I really believe, you know, that they were a huge part of our success as a whole. Nike and WNBA and the athletes. And I want to give a shout out to them. Well, I can too. 2 shout outs.
What is the possibility, like with name image? This question actually reminded me, because I wanted to ask you this, with name, image, and likeness now. So now we're going to this whole new phase of marketing and promotion and social media and exposure. What is the possibility that student athletes now could make a name for themselves, and then those dollars and that follow? I know that money is going directly to the student athlete, but as they move on and then move into the league, will that help at all? So that, you know, you're creating these superstars that are getting paid in college and getting that exposure in college. Is that going, in what way could that help the marketing at the next level at the WNBA?
Well, I honestly believe that's going to help. You know, there are several young high school kids that have a huge following, and it's amazing. They'll have 1 million people following them on TikTok, and they're just dancing. And so I really
we're gonna do it too.
Yeah,
I got some moves I've been working on.
And we just got a show's about to come on with TikTok on May 27th. Show Me You Can Dance. They about to have a show right after that on May 27th to start. I believe.
Oh, that's great.
On NBC.
That's crazy. Yeah.
That's really, really awesome. And I do, absolutely. And, you know, I've thought about this a lot because I'm an Oklahoma grad, and Caleb Williams left Oklahoma and followed Lincoln Riley to USC. And he's going to have more followers at USC than he is at Oklahoma, probably. Do I believe in the NIL deals probably affected that? Yeah. Was I disappointed? Yes. But I do think that's going to affect recruiting athletes going to bigger markets and markets where there's going to be more corporate opportunities. Yeah. And I do think there's going to be kids that are going to work it all the way up to the pros. Look at LeBron James. First of all, we wanted to sign him as a high school athlete, right?
Paige Buckner. Isn't she with Nike as well?
Yeah.
I believe she's with Nike.
Yeah,
it's going to be, that's definitely going to be interesting.
Jada Williams, look at Jada Williams. She was from here. She's out at UCLA area. Well, I think she's in San Diego, maybe playing for a team, and she's going to go to UCLA. She's already signing NIL deals, but don't ask me who. I just know that she is. I follow her because Natalie Williams' 2 kids love her, and I love Jada. And I will tell you, Jada's been to my house. And Jada, she came in and she got to see some of the collection I have from the Nike days. And she knows the history of Cheryl Swoops and Cynthia Cooper, Tina Thompson, and Lisa Leslie. And I was blown away because she was such a young person at the time, and she still is young. But I was like, wow, Jada, you know who these athletes are? He goes, you know. So anyway, that was really cool.
There was a question on here, Penny. Oh, here we go. You know anything about this?
What's your early thoughts on the Sparks? Yeah, I saw Lisa Leslie was at practice. Hey, I'm hoping that the Sparks do well. You know, I think they got some very, very talented players over there. Like I always say, is if they can get that team to mesh, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I think they 2-2 at the moment. I'm looking for them to do good things. You know, I'm always going to be a Sparks fan. I mean, for darn's sake, I mean, I only helped build the franchise. You know what I'm saying? So no matter how that turned out, I'm always going to root for the Sparks. I always want them to do well, and I'm hoping that they do well. You know, they got Liz Cambridge. I saw Kennedy was playing really good. I always like Jordan Canada. They got some nice pieces.
Yeah, I like Canada.
So now, hopefully they can mesh. The thing with their team, I'm gonna tell you who I wish had came back for them. Who I thought was playing good was God, what's her name? Big girl. I can't even believe I'm drawing a blank on her name right now, but she's not there right now. I'm not talking about Lauren Cox. God, what is her name? I'm gonna think about it. I'm gonna get back to you on her name because she played very, very well for them last year. And she was a bright spot for them, but she's not playing right now, which I thought would have added to the front line for them. When it comes back to me, you guys know who I'm talking about. And she played well, and I was surprised she wasn't back there this year.
Fran wants to know, why did Jens retire from being the GM of the Sparks?
Jens? Who is Jens?
You.
Oh, you? Maybe it's you.
I
I thought Jens. I was like, they had somebody named Yens?
Hey, Fred, you must be sleeping. Fred, you must have been asleep, dude.
I just read it.
Me and the family done had a fight. So me and the family arguing at the moment. But we'll be family shortly again. Okay.
Yens can't talk about that right now.
We'll be family probably in another year or so. So that's how that goes.
She's in no Philly slang. How y'all feel about, here we go. Here's one. Christy Tolliver missing camp first few weeks because of her coaching with the Mavs. How would you all feel about that if you were a teammate? That's actually a good question.
Well, okay. If nobody's going to say anything, let me tell you something. I love Christy Tolliver.
Okay.
I was proud to be her GM, even when she won, even when she left the Sparks and, you know, went to Washington. I'm sure I was one of the first person to text her. Congratulations. Let me tell you something. Christy, as far as I'm concerned, will be a great coach. And I hope she come back to the WNBA to coach like Becky Hammond did. That's the chance you take. You know, she got a once in a lifetime opportunity. And when you get a job like that, and I do believe now, if I was GM, y'all already know I'd be saying something different, but I'm not. So I believe that you got to finish it out. And my God, she's about to see one of the best series ever, you know, with Dallas versus Golden State Warriors. And, you know, she took on a job and she got to finish it out. And, you know, you can't just say Christy Tolliver not there. Katie Lou Samuelson's not there.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? She's not there. I can't believe I'm drawing a blank on the big girl because the big girl is so vital.
You're going to make me want to go Google right now. Somebody Google.
I'm about to look her up because she was the price spot for them last year. And so now when you take on these jobs, it can happen just like being overseas. I mean, you know, so... You know, it is what it is. That's why you build your team, not around one person, not around two people. You build a team.
A team, exactly.
All right. I just brought in, I was checking for another question. I thought I had another one, but I'm looking at the time and also realizing that we have not heard from our executive producer, Rita. I know you have a long history with Ray. Any thoughts before we say the words I'm not allowed to say till I ask Penny if it's okay?
No, I just think Ray has been such a visionary when it comes to women's basketball and bringing visibility to the sport. Everything that she started from the ground level, just her putting Cheryl Swoops, basically like Cheryl Swoops, Michael Jordan. They're the same athlete in terms of their skill set. You know, just one is male, one is female. And just the whole marketing platform that she gave these athletes is remarkable. And people don't really understand that so many people are behind the scenes, but Ray is truly one of the most prevalent to the sport in terms of marketing, and us even now trying to emulate some of the things that she did back then.
Yeah.
So, you know, I appreciate you. We've seen each other, our paths have crossed, and we talked about it last night, you know, just in conversation, doing so many things. And when you're behind the scenes, a lot of times people don't know all the things that you really put forth, your time, energy, and effort, and it is exhausting. So, you know, you retiring is like, you know, I'm sure a breath of fresh air for you, but you know, you left a legacy that people can always look back with history and say, okay, I remember when. And I'm sure every player that's out there now, whether they played in the earlier part of the WNBA or some players even now remember you and will always say, yo, Raye Pond, man, everybody knew your name.
Everybody knows your name. Just like cheer.
Right. You want to be, exactly. You want to be where everyone knows your name and everybody knew your name. So, you know, I applaud you for all the things that you brought to this game as far as helping it evolve. And that speaks volumes to the person.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Yes.
You know, it really does. So I'm glad we got you on. You know, we get so many requests for people. So everyone who keeps saying, I want Katrina McClain, I want Cheryl Miller, I want Lynette. I talked to Lynette. I talked to all of them. Just know that we're working on it. And we have to go at their pace and at their time. But in between time, you know, just cherish the wonderful people that we do bring on for you, absolutely, like a Raye Pond. and understand that some people don't want their life to be out and, you know, just exposed. They just want to chill and sit back and watch us. So they're watching, trust. They're really watching. So
especially when the show's called Unscripted, no telling what kind of questions gonna come out.
Somebody might pop up, you know. Somebody might definitely pop up. I'm telling you.
Yeah, y'all know I'm from Medford, Oklahoma. I don't know if you know this, but my parents were both deaf, and both of them had cerebral palsy. And so Dawn Staley was my actual first athlete that I was assigned to take care of. So I listened to the podcast she was on. Love her. Very loyal to her, and she came to Medford, Oklahoma, which was quite the experience from being from Philadelphia. And I will tell you that was pretty amazing. But I do want to say this about Kim Perrott. I was going through some issues with my parents because my mom couldn't walk anymore, and it was really pretty tough. And Coop had said something to Felicia Hall, and I said, look, I can't deal with this now. I got my parents. And so Coop and Tina Thompson and Kim Perrott came to Medford, Oklahoma, and they helped me out with an auction off, you know, the house, family, heirlooms, all that kind of stuff. So I can never, ever pay those athletes for doing that. And Shamika also made a visit to Oklahoma when my dad was in the hospital for such a long time. He had cancer. But I'm going to say this about Kim Perrott, and she fell in love with my father. You know, I took my dad out to Nike Town, Honolulu opening, and Kim was there. She was in the back with me as Lisa and Cynthia Cooper were the front runners doing the shows and all that kind of stuff. And somehow along the way, they started doing the I love you sign and talking smack. And my dad was telling her she needed to shoot the ball more. And you know, Coop can't shoot it all the time. And so she told my dad that every time she shot a 3-pointer, she would do the I love you sign to the camera. So when you see them playing the Liberty, you see Kim shoot, you see her doing that. And so then she gets a brain tumor. So then my dad faxes her a document with I love you sign, said she needed to get out of bed. She needed to come because you know she's a better shooter than Cynthia Cooper, and I was just like, oh, mortified. And you just can't be doing that because Cynthia Cooper is reading this, right? Prior to that, we had a game, and Houston Comets were playing Sacramento Monarchs, and Cooper happened to come down, makes the shot and misses it. I mean, didn't make the shot; she shot the shot and missed it. And so my dad and my mom was in a wheelchair. We're in the back of the hallway, and Coop comes out, and my dad said, you shoot the ball, we lose. Just like that. And I was like, oh my God. And you know, Coop, what did he just say to me? I said, you lost the game. And Kim happened to hear it. And she goes, that's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. I shoot the ball, we win, you know. That was a big deal. But to go back to the surgery, when she came out of that surgery, because I was there, and you know, they removed 2 tumors, and she said to me, hey, your dad is like my dad. I never had a dad. Can he be my dad? And I said, girl, you can have him.
Oh wow.
So you know, she passes away, and you know, I was with her. I went down to Mexico to be with her and get her back, and my dad dies. So I get a phone call from Coop. I don't know if she's watching this or not, but Coop, I'm in the back of the funeral car, and I'm like, oh my God, she knows I just buried my dad. So I answer. She goes, I am just mad as hell right now. I'm just mad because I said, you know what? I just buried my dad. She goes, I know. That's why I'm calling, because they're up there talking about me and talking about how bad I'm just flat mad. I'm angry about it. I'm just angry. So anyway, I always want to give a shout out to Kim too, because Kim Perrott is just amazing, and I love those Houston comments. I just saw some comments. I just saw somebody say I miss them. Best mascot too, Haley the Comet. Yeah.
Wow. Thank you for sharing that. That is that's a beautiful story. That's awesome. Moving into thoughts for next week. I'm not cutting you off, Penny. I'm going to ask permission before I close.
No, I just wanted to say one thing before you're done. That's why I said, let me put the little finger up.
Okay. All right.
Put the little finger up like I'm in church. You can tell I did go to church back in the day. I was going to say, the player that I was talking about was Amanda Zawi with the Sparks.
Amanda Zawi.
Yeah, Amanda Zawi had a good year. But I also want to say this, and then I don't have to say anything else. Ray, everybody loves you, like Rita said. And this has been a pleasure because people need to know out there, it's not just the players that make this a great league. They're a big part of it. But it's all the people behind the scenes that need to get their flowers. And I'm glad that Certified Unscripted was able to give you some flowers and let all you know everything.
Thank you all. I appreciate that.
And you're the bomb diggity. So I just want to say you are a big reason why this league is still around. You said the bar high.
That's right.
And people gotta reach it. They still haven't reached it. If they can reach it, this league gonna be around for 50 more years, you know?
Well, thank you.
Hercules.
And wait, Penny, she's invited to the party.
Huh?
You're invited to the party.
Ray can go anywhere. Ray got a platinum card. Ray got a platinum card. But any WNBA player that done played up on the Ray, they know Ray probably can mow her Rolodex and call anybody, and everybody will come running.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Wow. Well, thank you, Penny and Rita and Ruthie and Vera. I appreciate it. I really do.
We appreciate you. Absolutely. That's true.
I popped this final question up here about Kyla Pratt as a thought because you got to get, because people tell you what to do and you the boss, Rita. So,
yes, ma'am.
But as you know, she got her big break, right, with Love and Basketball, who anybody that's a women's hoop fan, shame on you. We're going to take your hoop fan card away from you if you've never seen the movie Love and Basketball. Shame on you. But that's how I wanted to end. I wanted to say until next week, Love and Basketball. Then I wanted to ask permission from these two. Go ahead, Ruthie.
Well, we got to do the closing. Hey, you know what? I would be remiss if I didn't do this before we was out. Is give you some roses. So yeah.
Ruthie, mighty Bolton.
You are so wonderful to me. You are so wonderful to me. You're everything that I hope for. You're everything that I need. Raye Pond. You are so wonderful.
Wow.
To me.
Hey, Ruthie.
Thank you, Ruthie. Thank you.
American Idol, you ain't got nothing on Certified Unscripted. Ruthie, let them know, Ruthie.
That's right. Watch out. Hey. What you know? Stop it.
Oh, thank you.
Can I go?
Yeah.
I guess.
Thank you, everybody that has joined us on Facebook Live as well as YouTube Live. Thank you to our outstanding, awesome, lovable guest, Raye Pond, for being here and giving us the behind the scenes of the marketing efforts of Nike and all things WNBA and beyond. And thank you to all of you on Facebook Live and YouTube Live. Remember, when it comes to women's hoops, we're not new to this. We're true to this. We are Certified Unscripted. Until next week, see you guys.